another person that is helping me with this project. And he's like, yo, man, this dude on TV. How this dude end up on TV? Like, I'm like, it ain't what you know, dog. It's never what you know. It's never what you know. And yet, Bo Pelini thought he could run a 4.3 in the SEC West in 2020. If Nick Saban can't run a 4.3, if Kirby Smart can't run a 3.4, what the hell makes you think you get to run a 4.3? What in God's good name lets you be the one man that gets to run a Sam linebacker out there where a nickel safety's supposed to be?
You don't understand. The defense is flexible. You're looking at these three linebackers like the actual linebackers, but really they're safeties, they're bandits, they're stars, right? They can rush the passer, they can cover the flats, and if you need them to go man, they can do it. They are anything and everything that you want on the field all at one time. Because you gotta combat these high-powered offenses.
Coach said, provided we don't cast ourselves, I'm gonna need you to find somebody that has a king BS speech pattern. Because you out here with this
4-2-5,
with this positionless football,
a 50 front.
You can't run no 50.
We are dime.
We running a 50 front with what?
Whenever we want to throw a suicide blitz like it's NFL blitz, we
then
do that.
Call it Todd Grantham. Call him Todd Grantham.
All we got to do is just look to the sidelines.
We got to interrupt the workflow in the head to respond to the super chat. Clemson fan here. What do you think about people that say Clemson don't play anybody, should not be in the playoffs? I think that we've been saying that for 3 years, and every year Clemson shows up and hands somebody their head. So like, I'm not saying it, and I don't think people I think people that are saying it are these people that we are talking about who don't work anymore. Like that's like I was actually having a conversation with a former NFL player, friend of mine, and he was trying to tell me that people are saying that LSU is not talented, and people are saying that LSU is just bad, and I'm like, hey, show me who's saying that. Show me who is saying that LSU isn't talented, and he couldn't tell me because it's a lazy take.
Yeah, we'll say they're right,
huh?
We'll say they're bad all day, right?
Right, but they're talented.
Yeah, but it's foolish to say that they're not talented.
Right, and that's what I was making the point about. It's like that's a lazy take. It's like the takes about Cam Newton that are dated by 5 years. You haven't actually done your homework. You actually haven't studied this. And every time I get hit with one of these opinions, I'm going to destroy it. Like, Ron, I had this thought earlier this morning. I have reached the suffers no fools stage of black manhood. Okay? Like, I used to actually wonder, like, why my old man and the other black men who helped raise me were so surly and pissed all the time. I don't wonder anymore. Like, I just walk around mugging and pissed because y'all didn't do your homework and you didn't actually do the work of asking me a good question. You asked me a Googleable question. Don't ask me nothing you can Google. Got another super chat in here you need to get to. Oscar Proud asked, can you explain your intro? Also, big fan. It'd be sick to get a follow. Joe Benson on Twitter a couple years ago. We'll see about the follow. I'm not really in that business like I used to be anymore because Twitter's become a very fraught place for me. But I appreciate it, Oscar, and I give it.
What do you ask?
For me to follow him on Twitter. But his first question is, can I explain the intro? So the quick answer is I started doing this show on a piece of cardio equipment called a step mill. And from there, we grew to whatever this is today. So you can go back into the channel library and you can see those videos where I'm on a piece of cardio equipment holding my phone in front of my face. And that's how we did the show. So I would say that I'm back on the step mill, and now I say I'm not on the step mill, and that's the long and the short of that. Got another super chat. Love the show, and yeah, I should not worry about what people say on Facebook. Keep it up, good work. I appreciate that, man. Like, people don't actually want to hear the facts that you're going to spit to them about why Clemson is legitimate even in the ACC. They just want to argue. It's a bad faith argument. It's one of the reasons why I mentioned that Twitter's so fraught. There's a bunch of people that just want to troll. That's it, right? They just want to give you a hard time. So I think it's Bomani that actually said this on his podcast. It's performative or it's informative. And you need to know which one you are doing on the tweets. Is it performative or is it informative? And if it's performative, you need to ask for what and for how. Man, super chats rolling in. Cole Bermudez? I hope so, Cole. It's my bad if I mess it up. Clemson did not hand anybody their heads this past year. 6-point win hanging on a blown play against a team with an injured quarterback. RB not handing them their head. Thank you. I disagree. So if you want to pick on the Texas A&M game, fine, if that's what you want to do. But I watched the Wake Forest game with store-brand Cam Newton. Every time we think that Notre Dame was going to give them an opportunity, they turn out to just beat the Indy that we all think that they are. I mean, if you're putting this out there in front of a Fiesta Bowl Ohio State thing, that's fine. But they gave them a game. Like, they won the game. And you want to talk about an injured quarterback, like, who doesn't have an injured quarterback? Are we going to make excuses for everybody that's got injuries? Because the whole point of this discussion, the whole point of that is how deep are you? Like, that's why Ohio State would get into the playoff right now if they win 4 in a row. Because we know that they are deeper than everybody else, and it's an invitational. You know, it's not automatic qualifiers like I think it should be. I don't think your argument has merit here because they did hand Alabama their head in the 2018 national championship. They did that. It is the most demoralizing defeat that Nick Saban has ever suffered, and it was to Clemson and Trevor Lawrence and Dabo Swinney and Tony Elliott and Brent Venables. Like, why is that your opinion? Like, I don't get it. It just, Ron, I put that to you. Like, what is it that Clemson has shown for them not to be a playoff team?
Well, I'm not entirely unempathetic with my man's question. Like, okay. I also believe that Clemson ain't play nobody. I particularly believe that last year, where they think that they rolled over a conference that could not really give them a game. And then they showed up in the playoffs and they were just as good as they've always been. Like, just because you don't play anybody truly does not mean that you're not that good.
Yeah.
It doesn't. It just means that your conference is either down or you've made the conference redundant. Like, that's kind of where Clemson kind of sort of lives right now. They are that good. They do not play anybody. So, and you better hope that by the time you get to the playoffs, you have a plan to beat them.
My comp here is LSU's 2019 season so spectacular because the SEC is so spectacular, or because LSU was so spectacular? Because if Clemson would have beaten LSU, we don't make this argument about LSU. We make it about Clemson.